Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this episode of the Dan Dawson Show. So, what I have for you today is all I can call him is the Antichrist at this point, next to his buddy Bill Gates. And when I finish reading this, if you could say you're surprised by this, you haven't been paying attention to what Anthony Fauci does. So, let me read this to you. The reason this is so important to me, and Zoe said, "Hey, Daddy, we got to do this show." And I wasn't going to put up another episode of the Dan Dawson Show today. I was actually going to wait maybe tomorrow, Wednesday, and make another one. But this is very important to her, and when you hear it, you'll know why. Dr. Anthony Fauci and his little buddy, Bill Gates, are scumbags. They are the scum of the earth. They are sociopaths, psychopaths, who care about nothing but themselves and making money. Bill Gates only cares about making money in his little scientific projects. I'm pretty sure you've heard of all the lawsuits coming out of Africa for him sterilizing women without their knowledge under so-called vaccine shots. Now let me read you what this sorry son of a bitch Anthony Fauci did. Then at the end of this, I'm going to tell you a story about why Zoe is only the second dog I've ever had in my life. And I hope you all understand why I'm so upset. So this is from Andrew Mark Miller at Fox News. The title is Representative Nancy Mace demands Fauci answer for cruel taxpayer-funded experiments on puppies. The NIH reportedly spent more than $400,000 experimenting on and ultimately killing beagles. Representative Nancy Mace, Republican from South Carolina, sent a letter to Dr. Anthony Fauci and the National Institutes of Health demanding answers to reports that taxpayer money from his department was used to subject dogs to abusive testing. Quote, "Yesterday I sent a letter to Dr. Fauci regarding the cruel taxpayer-funded experiments on puppies, the barking before drugging and then killing them." End quote. The South Carolina Republican tweeted Saturday along with a copy of the letter. Quote, "Thankful to my 23 Democrat and Republican colleagues who signed on. This is discussing. What say you, NIH?" So when they mean the barking, they mean they cut their vocal cords so they couldn't whine and make noise while they were being tortured to death. Tell me that's just not sick. Tell me that's just not sick. And see, these liberals who line up behind Fauci, right? They're the same ones who say if you kill a deer to eat it, and you eat the meat and you don't waste any part of the deer, most people don't, that you're cruel. So I wonder how they're going to line up behind this. Fauci, I think you just picked your final fight. So this is from Twitter. It's at Representative Nancy Mace. Yes, it's quote what I just read, and it's a signature of all the 23 people. To go on and quote the article, a report from the White Coat Waste Project that was based off a Freedom of Information Act request with the National Institutes of Allergy and Infectious Disease found that more than $400,000 in taxpayer money was spent on canine experiments during which beagles were infected with parasites via biting fleas. The project reported that Dr. Anthony Fauci's bureaucracy budget in 2021 is an estimated $6 billion. And that documents obtained through FOIA show evidence of a study in which otherwise healthy beagles were treated with an experimental medication before being introduced to biting flies that were carrying a parasite known to be contagious to humans. What a sorry piece of shit. So, subsection NIH acknowledges U.S. funded gain of function at Wuhan lab despite Fauci's denials. A new report shows that under Fauci's direction, the NIAID funded painful and deadly experiments on dogs. Fox News, Ben DiMunchi reported in August, adding that records obtained by White Coat Waste show the dogs endured months of pain. And once researchers were done with them, they were killed. The NIH did not immediately respond to a request for comment on Mace's letter from Fox News. In a statement to Fox News, Representative Mace said that using taxpayer money to debark, cut the vocal cords, drug and kill beagle puppies is both inhumane and a disgrace to the country. The $1.68 million of taxpayer funds to force feed or inject dozens of beagle puppies with experimental drugs is unnecessarily brutal and gruesome. Dr. Fauci and the rest of the NIH leadership should come forward and explain what the hell is truly going on, end quote, Mace added. The controversial treatment of man's best friend has resulted in widespread criticism on social media, including from podcast star Joe Rogan. This tweet from Joe Rogan, quote, bipartisan legislators demand answers from Fauci on cruel puppy experiments. End quote. This is from Glenn Greenwald. Congrats to Representative Nancy Mace for his excellent initiative to ban federal funds for gruesome and completely unnecessary medical experiments on dogs overseen by Dr. Fauci. Rand Paul has a similar bill, while at White Coat Waste and at Beagle Freedom are key activists to the bipartisan cause. This is also at Glenn Greenwald. I reported on barbaric dog experimentation in the industry, and Glenn Greenwald is a very good reporter. They breed dogs into the world, mostly beagles, but others, with no purpose other than to conduct hideous experiments with no medical value, then kill them when they're done. It's truly sick. This is at Kelly Ashby Paul. Meanwhile, Americans are finally learning of the cruel torture of beagle puppies by Fauci's NIH, another evil Rand has exposed and our biased media has ignored. This is at Ted Cruz from Twitter. I saw several tweets about this and assumed it was metaphorical. Surely Fauci wasn't literally torturing puppies. My assumption was incorrect. The letter from Mace comes days after Fauci found himself in hot water for repeated claims that taxpayer dollars were not spent on gain-of-function research in Wuhan, China, in a Wuhan, China lab, which was seemingly contradicted by an NIH official. In a letter to Representative James Comer, ranking member of the House Committee on Oversight and Reform, an NIH official admits that a limited experiment was conducted in order to test if spike proteins were naturally occurring bat coronaviruses circulating in China were capable of binding to human ACE2 receptors in a mouse module. The letter states the laboratory mice infected with the modified bat virus became very sick. The mice were given the unmodified bat virus. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's just be honest about something. Why are you surprised? This is a man who has been in bed with Bill Gates since the 90s, the early 90s. Bill Gates and the Gates Foundation, him and Melinda, who are under scrutiny from the world for making minority African populations where they couldn't reproduce. They believe in controlling the world's population. They're going to do anything they want to do. This man should be in prison. So I promise you, that's just hideous. It's hideous. Let me get this back around for a second. So, I promise you a story because I'm already running close to 10 minutes. Let me tell you the story. So there's a reason. It's not that Dan's not a dog lover. When I was young, I had this dog named Big Boy. Very good dog. I love that dog. Pretty dog. I get off the school bus, he'd be there to meet me, and we lived down a country road. But every day at school time, there he was. I go out adventuring on the weekends in the woods because we grew up in the country. So that's what you did, or I go fishing or whatever. Big boy's right there beside me. Wake up in the morning, walk out, because my mom had this thing about keeping dogs in the house, which Zoe doesn't like. But it's a good thing I don't live with my mom. So, and when Big Boy died, it was the first heartbreak I ever felt in life. My heart was completely shattered. And I swore I'd never have another dog because I never wanted to feel that loss again. So I can't imagine what kind of human approves this experiment. Or even more, think about this. These are the doctors and the scientists who are getting you to take this bullshit ass vaccine. Now, hey, I have nothing to say against the vaccine. I'm gonna leave it alone. They're getting you to take this vaccine, and you see what they do to living animals just to kill them. You heard in the article I read, there was no scientific value to it. None at all. They just did it because they could. You know who did stuff like that? Nazis. So, when Big Boy died, I was heartbroken. I swore I'd never have another dog. The way we got Zoe is Tammy and my daughter drove to Port Angeles, which was a little over 4 hours away. At the time, because of the pain of my spinal injuries, I couldn't make a drive that far. And so they come home, and here's this little white shivering ball of fur. She was a baby. But it was the last thing Tammy had of her aunt. And I couldn't turn her away. And as you can see, Zoe now doesn't make a move without her daddy. If her daddy moves, she moves. Daddy goes to the store, she goes to the store. Matter of fact, I went to the store yesterday. I go in to buy something, and they're like, "Where's Zoe?" I'm like, "She's sleeping in this morning." So she has a special place in my heart. So to see that somebody like Anthony Fauci can do this to dogs, not only dogs, think about this. Him and Bill Gates have done this to humans. Humans. They have no conscience. They're psychotic. They're sociopathic. Bill Gates and Anthony Fauci are pieces of shit. I had to make this one because it touched me in a special way. I don't know. It's just been, I guess, a hell of a few days. But thank you. Like, subscribe, share, and as always, do what you got to do.